This page is the front cover of DC UK Magazine, and it's a corker. The main headline screams about an exclusive review of Fighting Vipers 2, boasting about Sega's latest Virtua Fighter spin-off and its battle armor. Right next to it is another big shout for Phantasy Star Online, reviewed as possibly the best role-playing game ever made, going by their verdict on Sonic Team's new adventure, La Bave. There's also an exclusive look at Agatha Unveiled, teased as a scary survival horror from Sega, and a little tip-off about Tony Hawk's 2 and Tomb Raider Chronicles. Plus, they're checking out Project Justice, Capcom's rival school sequels, even going behind the bike sheds for the official review. Down at the bottom it mentions previews for Daytona USA 2001, Skies of Arcadia, and Rogue Spear. This one is dated March 2001, so right in the thick of it for the Dreamcast. This page is the contents page for the March 2001 issue. It highlights the main articles, including features on Agatha, Phantasy Star Online, Fighting Vipers 2, and Project Justice. There are also DC preview sections covering Daytona USA 2001, Skies of Arcadia, Sonic Adventure 2, and Shenmue 2. The DC review section features Phantasy Star Online and Fighting Vipers 2. The page lists regular sections like DA Tips, DC Interactive, and regulars covering Internet News and Team Diary. The contacts, contributors and production teams are listed as well, including editor Lee Hart. The magazine's tagline is, "What's inside this month's issue of the best DC mag in the world?" This page is a preview of Agatha. It's described as a horror game set in a remote Romanian town, aiming to be the most absorbing and scary horror game ever. The main character, Kirk, is noted as an unusual hero and likened to an aging Sean Connery. The text talks about the game's development being delayed because the team scrapped their work and started over using new 3D tools, specifically Maya 3D. It mentions artists being sent to Romania to take photos and create sketches for the game's setting. The game is described as having a multi-layered, non-linear storyline, where player choices and actions affect the characters and the game's progression, with the option to be good or evil. The text highlights the game's naturalism compared to other survival horror games, suggesting interactive environments where almost any object can be used. There are screenshots showing the character model in development and in-game environments with snow and swirling winds, emphasizing the creepy atmosphere. The preview talks about the creator, Frederick Raynal, also known for Alone in the Dark, and how Agatha is his latest project. Initially started as a PC project, but switched to Dreamcast development, highlighting the ambition of the project. The article mentions Infogrames and a prior project, AITD2, which Raynal didn't want to develop. This article explores the evolution of survival horror games, focusing on Frederick Raynal's upcoming Agatha for the Dreamcast. Raynal, creator of the influential Alone in the Dark, 1991, aims to innovate the genre with Agatha, emphasizing adventure and puzzle-solving over action, contrasting it with the popular Resident Evil series. The article highlights Resident Evil, 1996, as a pivotal title that perfected the survival horror formula, leading to the popularity of the term. It also discusses Dino Crisis, 1999, a Capcom title featuring dinosaurs, and Silent Hill, 1999, from Konami, known for its psychological horror. Agatha is being developed by a small French team dedicated to the Dreamcast. Raynal favors PC gaming, but appreciates the Dreamcast. Screenshots indicate detailed models and an atmosphere of dread, with a focus on the player's choices impacting the story. Daytona USA 2001 for Dreamcast is previewed in a March 2001 magazine, hailed as the return of the god of racing games. The game, developed by Amusement Vision and published by Sega Amusement, features both returning and new tracks. It supports up to 4 players online, and was due for a UK release in March. Taller, classic tracks like 3-7 Speedway and Dinosaur Canyon are featured, alongside Championship Edition tracks like Desert City and National Park Speedway. New circuits include Circuit Pixie, Rin Rin Rink with an airport and waterfall, and Mermaid Lake. The preview highlights the importance of learning track layouts and mastering corner speeds to excel in the game. Daytona USA 2001 aims to replicate the arcade experience on home consoles, succeeding with improved proportional controls. The game features car customization, in-game tips for track navigation, and a sexy replay feature for race analysis, alongside a proximity monitor and diverse camera angles. Standard game modes like single race and championship are included, with adjustable settings for sound, video, and car setups. Graphics see improvements over the Saturn version, including more polygons and better draw distances, though expectations should be tempered. The Hornet car is highlighted as well balanced. Online net battle mode supports up to 4 players and is praised for its smooth performance, akin to Quake 2 Arena. 2-player split screen is also available. The review emphasizes the game's arcade feel, speed, and replayability, encouraging players to try it. This page is a preview for Skies of Arcadia, which they are proper excited about at DC UK Magazine, calling it one of the most eagerly anticipated games for the Dreamcast. They reckon it's got the potential to be a real classic, especially coming from Overworks who are known for grandeur. They're saying the visuals are gorgeous, and the storyline is compelling. Proper epic adventure by the sounds of it. Hey the preview goes on about how you'll be adventuring around floating islands as air pirates, proper treasure seeking and swashbuckling. They mention cities, labyrinths, dungeons and all sorts of locations. It mentions the main characters, Vice and Ica, and that you'll be sailing the skies in galleons, battling villainous black pirates. There's a section focusing on magic, showing off Ica, using spells like Alpha Storm and Volcanic Blast. They are proper impressed with the Dreamcast's ability to handle the lighting effects for the magic. They also mention that the internal environments are incredibly detailed, even if you can't get properly sloshed in the pub. It talks about moral choices in the game, and that your reputation will matter, affecting how characters interact with you. They're saying it's shaping up to be something really special, proper role-playing nirvana, they reckon. Last Blade 2, a hardcore 2D beat-em-up from SNK, is now available on the Dreamcast. Set in the 1800s, the game features 16 characters and focuses on armed warriors, emphasizing tactics over reflexes. While the graphics aren't cutting edge, with low-resolution sprites and limited animation, the character designs are stylish, capturing the era's swordsman vibe. Players can choose between power, speed, or X designations for special moves, and combos are possible. The game's depth lies in strategic character choices and fighting style adjustments. Key features include a repel function for counterattacks, and the ability to tweak characters. Screenshots showcase diverse characters like Okino, Hibiki, and the heavyweight duo Shigen and Yuzo, with varying strengths and weaknesses. The game stresses skill and strategy over quick reflexes. This page is a preview of Gigaring 2, blimey, what a visual feast that was. It's billed as a souped-up sequel to the original, promising even more chaotic and beautiful bullet hell action. They mention it's got a 4-player mode, which sounds absolutely mental. Can you imagine the screen? The article talks about the Reflect Force weapon, which was a key part of the first game, and is back here, letting you absorb enemy fire and turn it against them. They're raving about the graphics, saying Takumi has really pushed the boat out on the Dreamcast. Screenshots show off some of the intense action, massive bosses, and screen-filling explosions, looking like modern art as they put it. One caption even jokes about whether Takumi just flicked paint at the screen. Which, to be fair, it sometimes looks like. The final boss is even described as an angelic creation. You need to blast her back to hell. Typical SHMUP humor. They reckon this game is going to be genre-defining and scream into the millennium, which is a bit dramatic, but it certainly made a splash back in the day. In a nutshell box, they highlight Capcom and Takumi as the publishers and developers, calling it a beautifully contemporary shooter, with lush visuals and devastating 4-player mode. Release date was out now at the time. Good times, those manic shooters, proper test of reflexes. Rogue Spear is a tactical first-person shooter, emphasizing planning and strategy over frantic action. Players meticulously plan team movements, weapon choices, and individual skills before missions. The game offers a comprehensive training mode, crucial due to deadly and reactive enemies. Success hinges on stealth and careful planning. While the Dreamcast version is single-player only, it supports mouse and keyboard for a better experience. The review highlights the importance of tactical gameplay, offering a high degree of control over your squad. The game features realistic animation and environments like an Egyptian museum, with objectives including hostage rescue and terrorist neutralization. If you enjoyed the original Rainbow Six, Rogue Spear promises a similar blend of action and tactical depth, making it a cerebral alternative to typical shooters. Typing of the Dead for the Dreamcast is a unique typing game based on House of the Dead 2. Instead of shooting zombies, players type words and phrases displayed above their heads to defeat them. The game is described as fast-paced, frantic, and incredibly fun. surpassing even a dung beetle in terms of craziness. The preview highlights the game's appeal to anyone who endured typing lessons. Screenshots reveal zombies targeted with phrases like Gestapo and human sandbag. Boss battles and a ranking system are also included. The game features humor, such as characters with keyboards strapped to their backs and enemies attacking with plastic mallets. Extras like boss mode and a tutorial mode enhance the experience. The review concludes that the game is a superb test of skill, speed and reflexes, and should be released in Europe. Evil Dead: Hail to the King for the Dreamcast is a survival horror adventure starring Ash. The game attempts to capture the film's blend of blood, gore and dark humor. Gameplay mirrors Resident Evil with tank controls, and features chainsaws and boomsticks. The preview criticizes flaws in controls, a disembodied character model, and pixelated graphics. While the backgrounds are nicely animated, the game suffers from confusing camera angles, excessive backtracking, and respawning enemies. The reviewer notes, the game has the right ingredients for horror, but in the wrong proportions. The article highlights the relentless enemies, frequent item respawns, and camera angles. The overall assessment suggests the game struggles to deliver on the source material's promise. This page is a preview for Illbleed, a new survival horror game for the Dreamcast. It's described as a B-movie style affair, packed with gore and dark humor. The preview suggests it's aiming to give the censors a headache with its over-the-top violence. The game sounds like it's embracing the genre tropes, but with a humorous spin. We're told to expect blood-splattered corpses, and the screenshots certainly back that up, with one showing a woman covered in blood, and another with a rather odd monster that's described as having a flame-throwing hoover. It mentions the gameplay revolves around sense meters for the character Eriko, which give feedback on her surroundings. The premise is set in a Horrorland theme park, and the game is aiming for a Japanese release in March. It sounds like quite a unique and gruesome take on the survival horror genre, leaning into the ridiculous and over-the-top. Apparently the bosses are massive, screen-filling monstrosities. The preview makes it clear Illbleed isn't taking itself too seriously, which could be a refreshing change of pace for horror games. The March 2001 news section of the magazine focuses on the Dreamcast. Year of the Dreamcast highlights Sega's commitment to releasing games for the next year, including sequels and original titles, despite speculation about the console's future. Victory Goal 2001, Sega Worldwide Soccer 2001 is spotlighted. Knight's Remix details a reworked version of the Saturn classic. Sega The Dream Lives On addresses the Dreamcast's financial struggles and discontinuation of hardware production, but reassures gamers with a release schedule extending to February, and hints at repurposing Dreamcast tech into set-top boxes. A GameSwap service, GameSwap Express, is advertised. A comprehensive list of upcoming Dreamcast games, from February 2001 to January 2002, is included. Screenshots of several games are also featured. Bullmal. DC Express previews Sonic Adventure 2, highlighting its impressive graphics, fast-paced gameplay with rail grinding, and classic platforming elements. They enjoyed the action, including escaping a chopper and using cool boarding mechanics. The magazine also previews Shenmue 2, praising its visuals and immersive forest environments. The sequel continues the epic story, with dream sequences and orchestral music. The adventure unfolds primarily in Hong Kong, with Ryo meeting Shenhua. The game is slated for a Japanese autumn release and a European release in February 2002. Finally, the magazine includes an advertisement for Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six in Eagle Watch missions. This DC Express page highlights the Dreamcast gaming scene. Activision's Spider-Man game is described as a faithful recreation, mirroring the PlayStation version. Sega is planning a smash pack of Mega Drive classics for the Dreamcast, including Phantasy Star 2, Sonic, and Streets of Rage 2. Despite being turned down initially, fan sites are pushing for Streets of Rage 4 on Dreamcast. Capcom's Heavy Metal Geomatrix, a 4-player deathmatch game, is previewed. Rumors include a possible announcement from United Game Artists, the cancellation of Driver 2, and problems porting Quake 2i to PS2. Broadband is coming to the Dreamcast, but Super Bombad Racing has been cancelled. Finally, a humorous Dreamcast clothing chart lists tongue-in-cheek items. This DC Express issue features the Dreamcast Top 10, with Toy Racer leading. A preview of Dragon Riders, a 3D adventure based on Anne McCaffrey's books, is highlighted, promising RPG elements and dragon riding. NBA Hoops is previewed. emphasizing its new 3-on-3 gameplay and additional features. Sega is bringing simplified versions of Knights, Samba de Amigo, and Choo Choo Rocket to Japanese mobile phones. An advert for game tips is included. Finally, Dave 2000 reflects on the Dreamcast's future, questioning the console's longevity and the appeal of buying familiar games, drawing a comparison to re-watching old content and warning about a potentially stagnant future. Gameplay is advertising a wide range of Dreamcast products. They're heavily promoting a Dreamcast console bundle with 3 games for £149.99, allowing customers to choose their games. Pre-made bundles are also available, including titles like Tomb Raider 4, Sonic Adventure, and Yava Striker. A Pro Gamer bundle features a keyboard, mouse, and Quake 2 iArena. The ad highlights numerous individual games on sale, such as Phantasy Star Online, Matt Hoffman's BMX, Half-Life, Shenmue, and Jet Set Radio. A comprehensive list of games is available, from 102 Dalmatians puppies to Zombie Revenge. Official accessories like VMUS, joypads, and SCART cables are on offer, along with third-party memory cards and racing wheels. The advertisement also showcases new releases, pre-orders, and various Dreamcast peripherals, including Blaze VGA boxes and arcade sticks. Finally, they provide delivery options and an order form. This page of the magazine kicks off with a bit of arcade news, focusing on a rhythm game called Shakata Tambourine, clearly inspired by Samba de Amigo. It seems to be doing well in Japan. The article reckons it's a bit more manageable than Samba de Amigo, and should be good fun, mentioning a Dreamcast conversion is hoped for. Next up is a preview of Spiker's Battle, which sounds like a proper rough-and-tumble beat-em-up from Sega. It's described as a side story to Spike Out, but in 3D. They're saying it's like Power Stone meets Streets of Rage, which sounds a right laugh. You can chuck weapons about and even use other fighters as weapons apparently. They mention 4-player co-op, and it's set in gritty urban environments. Good news is a Dreamcast version is on the card, so that's one to keep an eye on. Tari. Then there's a piece on Street Fighter Online, talking about Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo X, hitting the Dreamcast with online play. They're saying it's the definitive version of Street Fighter, and online play is already up and running in Japan. Mentions Capcom have been doing great beat-em-ups for years. Power Stone 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 getting a shout-out. Finally, there's a full-page advert for Spawn in the Demon's Hand, declaring it's available now on Dreamcast, boasting 36 characters, original arcade and tournament modes, and 4-player team battles. The 2001 ATEI showcased several new arcade games. Sega's Naomi 2 hardware was a highlight, powering titles like Airtricks, a skateboarding game with a motion-sensing controller that focuses on trick combos, and Wild Riders, a cel-shaded motorbike racer. Club Kart European Session was a kart racer with a card system for customization. Virtua Striker 3 on Naomi 2 was also impressive. Mimitilica. Other notable games included the light gun shooters, Ninja Assault, likely for Dreamcast, Vampire Knight, Confidential Mission, James Bond themed, also Dreamcast bound, F355 Challenge 2, and a game called Maximus were also mentioned. The show also featured various other light gun shooters. Whoa. The DC Review section presents Dreamcast game reviews, highlighting titles like Phantasy Star Online, DC UK Essential, Fighting Vipers 2, DC UK Exclusive, and Project Justice, DC UK recommends. The reviews employ a 10-point scoring system, with 5 being average. The section also covers games like European Super League, Starlancer, and Guilty Gear X, alongside reader reviews and review listings. The review panel discusses their gaming experiences. Lee Hart enjoys Euro Super League and Project Justice. Stephen Lawson reviews Project Justice. Adrian Lawton mentions Beast's Lair and Guilty Gear X. Neil Randall enjoys retro games and is engrossed in Guilty Gear X. The reviewers showcase a diverse range of titles, reflecting their varied gaming interests. Yeah. This Dreamcast review hails Phantasy Star Online as a must-have, even suggesting it's worth any cost to play. It's the UK's first online console RPG, offering seamless online multiplayer for up to 4 players, along with offline single-player with AI companions. The game features in-depth character customization with various classes and species. The review highlights the game's strategic team-based combat, dynamic environments, and comparisons to acclaimed RPGs like Skies of Arcadia and Grandia 2. It praises the accessible, yet surprisingly deep battle system, a departure from turn-based RPGs. The review emphasizes the addictive nature of online play and its impact, ultimately giving Phantasy Star Online high praise. Boy. Yuji Naka discusses the development of Phantasy Star Online, CISO, emphasizing its core focus on online communication, a pioneering concept for the time. The branching translation system, built to bridge language barriers, was a revolutionary undertaking, requiring a 2,000-word lexicon. Naka believes Beiso's capabilities were exclusive to the Dreamcast due to hardware limitations. He aimed for a million-selling title, with a particular focus on the US market. The page also presents screenshots showcasing gameplay, including combat, and the user interface. The screenshots highlight the Ranger class and battles against varied enemy types, reinforcing the multiplayer aspects. The game's emphasis on online interaction is apparent, with mentions of party setups, the Hunters Guild, and the unique character customization, highlighting the game's revolutionary impact. Dreamcast Magazine's review of Phantasy Star Online is overwhelmingly positive. The review focuses on the innovative mag system, a floating companion that evolves through item feeding, offering powerful photon blasts and summon spells. The mags add a tactical element to combat with their various forms and attacks. Screenshots highlight gameplay features like combat against enemies such as the Grass Assassin and Evil Shark, alongside details like rare healing points, robot resilience, and automatic guarding. The review also showcases the town area and item descriptions, like the Stargate-like hula hoop. A massive photon blast emphasizes the mag's destructive capabilities. Awarding a perfect 10 out of 10 and labeling it DC UK Essential, the review praises the graphics as exceptional, the sound as dramatic, and the gameplay as slick and engrossing, creating an epic role-playing experience. The review reassures players that offline play is available, concluding that Phantasy Star Online is a superlative addition and the best RPG on the Dreamcast. The next page is a review of Fighting Vipers 2, proclaiming it to be like Virtua Fighter 3 in a suit of armor, and extremely playable. It's a Dreamcast exclusive, and the review dives into the game's core mechanic, breaking down your opponent's armor. It highlights how you need to strategically target different areas to strip away armor before landing a knockout blow. The review mentions it takes a few rounds to fully strip the armor, suggesting a tactical depth to the fighting. The page features screenshots illustrating this breakdown process, showing a few punches and kicks to start, then odd power moves, and finally the opponent down to their kicks after armor removal. There's even a shot captioned, "A typical grapple hold in action." Nasty. The reviewer notes the game's origins from the Model 3 arcade board and its similarities to Virtua Fighter in terms of controls, describing it as a refined 3D beat-em-up experience. It's praised for its flash-hairy design with eye-pleasing stuff, a vivid exercise in neon and Pantone, and gaudy and brash visuals. They point out the bright colors and cartoon style as contributing to its visual appeal. Overall, it sounds like a positive take on Fighting Vipers 2, emphasizing its unique armor system and over-the-top style. This page is a Tools of the Trade feature in a DC review section, focusing on Fighting Vipers 2 and its unique armor system. It highlights how the game encourages tactical fighting by showing screenshots of characters losing armor during fights across various stages. We see Raxel with his guitar, Charlie on a BMX, and Picky with a skateboard as examples of character weapons, though the review notes these aren't used as much as they could be. The screenshots show gameplay in stages like a museum, with dinosaur bones, a rooftop, and a city street. Captions point out the armor damage icons and describe in-game actions like grapple holds and ring-outs, where characters are thrown off stages. The review continues to praise the game for its visual style, calling it flash-hairy with eye-pleasing stuff, neon and Pantone, and gaudy and brash visuals, also described as bright colors and cartoon style. The verdict section gives Fighting Vipers 2 a solid 7 out of 10, stating its faultless gameplay but perhaps too close to Sega's legendary Virtua Fighter, suggesting it lacks originality despite its suit of armor concept. The reviewer, Neil Randall, concludes that while good, it might not be essential given the competition on the Dreamcast. Project Justice, a sequel to Rival Schools, is a fun, if not revolutionary, arcade fighter. Developed by Capcom and published by Virgin Interactive, the game features a cast of characters ranging from saucy lab technicians to athletic types, with a heavy dose of over-the-top Japanese aesthetics. The review highlights its special moves, including team-up and party-up techniques, comparing the gameplay to Street Fighter and Tekken. Despite its convoluted story and frequent panty shots, the reviewer enjoys the game's team-based fighting, dragon punch attacks, and pseudo-3D movement, suggesting it's a classic Capcom experience with a unique, school-themed twist. Project Justice, subtitled Burn Baby Burn, is a fun fighting game sequel to Rival Schools. The review highlights its team-based attacks, especially the hilarious and spectacular team-up techniques, which require skill but offer a fiery reward. Gameplay includes team-up technique counters for defense and character switching for tactical advantages. Characters like Roberto and Kyoko are featured. The DC UK verdict praises the colourful and chunky graphics, despite polygon limitations, and the loud, brash and amusing sound. Gameplay is exciting and entertaining, with an infectious two-player multiplayer experience. The game receives an 8/10, marking it as a classic in the Street Fighter style. The review also features humorous captions. Warrington. European Super League for the Dreamcast offers a realistic football experience, a shift from the arcade style of its contemporaries. Initially dismissed, the reviewer found its slower pace ultimately rewarding. The game features a unique set-piece system reminiscent of golf games and boasts good graphics, though the sound is poor. Multiplayer supports up to 4 players, providing smooth and enjoyable gameplay. Despite shortcomings like unrealistic ball physics, passing issues, and a clumsy sprint function, the game provides a decent alternative for fans. The game includes major European clubs, but lacks some due to licensing. The review highlights good player likenesses and gameplay screenshots. Overall, European Super League receives a score of 6/10, falling short of games like ISS Evolution or SWWS Euro 2000 edition. This page is a review of Starlancer, a space combat game for the Dreamcast. It's billed as an epic interstellar action game and DC's first true space adventure. The review highlights the game's setting in 2160, where you're a recruit fighting for the Alliance against the Coalition. Apparently, us gamers got space combat on their PCS, but Europeans on Dreamcast had to wait. The reviewer mentions a variety of mission types, including dogfights, rescue and escort duties. Visually it looks impressive, comparing favorably to the PC version, with spectacular explosions, laser fire, and lens flare. The Dreamcast controller is praised for providing intuitive controls, letting you bank your fighter like Luke Skywalker. Online multiplayer is a big plus, with 6 scenarios for up to 8 players, including modes like Vampires and Hunt the Shadow. The reviewer is impressed with the smooth online play and lack of lag. They acknowledge that missions can become repetitive, but the game is so much fun you won't care. Ultimately, Starlancer is given a score of 8 out of 10, being called a superbly realized PC conversion and fantastic on the Dreamcast. Adrian Lawton is the reviewer. Screenshots show in-game action with targeting reticules and enemy fighters, and captions highlight features like protecting the Alliance fleet, targeting enemies, fast Coalition fighters, and spectacular explosions. The review emphasizes the game's graphics, sound, gameplay, and multiplayer in separate verdict boxes, praising each aspect. Speed Devils Online is praised for its online racing on the Dreamcast, despite a lackluster single-player mode. The review highlights a gameplay loop of buying, upgrading, and racing cars online, offering standard customization options. While visually inferior to other titles like MSR, the sound and fun gameplay of the original are retained, especially in the online mode. The review criticizes the handling of some cars, especially the cheaper ones. However, the online mode, with its vendettas and wagering, is considered a saving grace. A score of 6/10 is awarded, recommending the game for its online play, particularly for those awaiting Daytona. The review mentions screenshots of city and mountain tracks, along with a caption hinting at online transatlantic racing rivalries. This page features a review of Championship Surfer for the Dreamcast. It's billed as a surfing game that should be adrenaline-filled but ultimately doesn't quite capture the real thrill of the sport. The review questions if this digital surfing experience will sink or swim with players. The review mentions various gameplay modes like Arcade, Championship, Rumble, and Free Surf, along with Time Attack. It highlights the inclusion of real-life surfing stars such as Corey Lopez, Jason Collins, Rochelle Ballard, Shane Bessian, Bill Beaker, Brian and Timmy Reyes, giving short bios for each of them. Graphically, the reviewer notes nice effects but an overall average presentation. Sound is praised for a great soundtrack and accurate effects. Gameplay is described as straightforward, consisting of standing up and falling off your board, but with tricks to master. Multiplayer is bog-standard split screen, though the 4-player Rumble mode is seen as fun. Ultimately, the reviewer concludes that while it's good fun for a while, Championship Surfer lacks real excitement and replay value, giving it a score of 5 out of 10. Screenshots show different in-game perspectives, including close-up action and wider views showing scale and weather effects. One caption points out the dynamic camera that zooms in for stunts, and another notes the different weather systems available, from sunny to hurricanes. This page reviews 2 Dreamcast games and previews an Xbox title. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command received a 4/10, praised for its visuals but criticized for repetitive gameplay and inconsistent cell shading. The reviewer felt the game might only appeal to young children. Aqua GT fared worse, scoring a 3/10. While the graphics and sound were considered acceptable, the gameplay was deemed boring, and the multiplayer suffered from frame rate issues. The preview highlights the Xbox launch of Star Wars Episode 1, Starfighter, with a release date of March 21st. A+ section lists other games, including Phantasy Star Online, Daytona USA, and Skies of Arcadia. Guilty Gear X for Dreamcast is hailed as one of the best 2D beat-em-ups in years. The review praises its ability to revitalize interest in the genre, typically dominated by Capcom and SNK. Graphically, the game excels with stunning 2D art, utilizing high-resolution mode and impressive transparencies. The sound design features metal music and impactful effects. Gameplay is strategic and accessible, offering depth for those seeking it. Multiplayer encourages social play and deeper understanding. The review highlights unique character designs, such as Faust and ZATO1=1, adding to the game's appeal. Key mechanics include the tension gauge, overdrive attacks, instant kill moves, and dead angle blocking. Awarded a 9/10, it's declared the greatest 2D fighting game ever, and a top recommendation. This Dreamcast game review spread covers various genres, with a wide range of scores. Action/adventure titles include Shenmue, Resident Evil Code, Veronica and Sonic Adventure. Standouts are Bangai-O, 8/10, and Capcom vs SNK 9/10. Beat-em-ups include Soul Calibur, Dead or Alive 2, and Power Stone. Grandia 2 and Half-Life both receive high praise, with scores of 9/10. Driving games feature Metropolis Street Racer and Ferrari 355 Challenge, the latter earning a 9/10. Sports games include Virtua Tennis, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and NBA 2K. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 earns a perfect 10 out of 10. A diverse range of scores highlights the Dreamcast's library, with some titles like 102 Dalmatians and ECW Revolution earning very poor scores, while others, like Choo Choo Rocket and Fur Fighters, achieve high marks for their innovative gameplay and graphics. This Dreamcast game review roundup covers a wide range of genres. Strategy games include Railroad Tycoon 2, slow but decent, and Rainbow Six, engrossing special ops, lacks multiplayer. Rayman 2 shines for its platforming. Beat-em-ups Ready 2 Rumble Boxing and its sequel are highlighted, along with Record of Lodoss War for its RPG elements. Shoot-em-ups feature Red Dog, enjoyable but unremarkable, and Resident Evil 2, classic conversion. Resident Evil 3, Nemesis is praised, while Code, Veronica is considered the best in the series. Racing games include Revolt Revolution, varied but tricky, and The Awful Roadsters. Sports titles include the brilliant rhythm game, Samba de Amigo, Arcade Racer San Francisco Rush 2049, and the catchy Sega Bass Fishing. Other games include Sega GT, Sega Rally 2, Shadowman, The Essential Shenmue, Silent Scope, Silver, Slave Zero, Snowcross Championship Racing, and Snow Surfers. Sonic Adventure is excellent, Soul Calibur is a contender for Best Beat-em-Up, and Soul Reaver has magnificent visuals. Comedy Racer South Park Rally, the unique Space Channel 5, and the unplayable Spawn also get a mention, as do Speed Devils, Spirit of Speed, and Star Wars Demolition. This page is packed with reader reviews and tips. Kicking things off is Quake 2 Arena. Daniel Solway reckons it's the greatest multiplayer game on the Dreamcast, praising the graphics, atmosphere, and overall immersive experience, giving it a perfect 10 out of 10. Next up is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Reviewed by Mark Harvey, who says it captures the essence of the TV show, but finds the questions become repetitive, scoring it a 6 out of 10. Richard Sawyer reviews Ferrari 355 Challenge, acknowledging its initial mixed reception, but now appreciating its graphics, detailed models and sound, awarding it a solid 9 out of 10. Matt Evans gets to grips with WWF Royal Rumble, calling it an almighty stunner on the Dreamcast, highlighting the awesome graphics, animation, and the backstage fight feature, scoring it a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the tips section, part 1 of the DX tips section features Tony Hawk's 2, promising level guides and skater advice. Part 1 also covers Tomb Raider Chronicles, offering a guide to Lara Croft. Lastly, the codes section lists cheats for various games, including Jet Set Radio, Silent Scope, Ready to Rumble, Samba de Amigo, UFC, Quake 2 iArena, and even action replay codes. The page is sponsored by Gameplay, the gateway to games. This page presents the DX tips section, specifically part 1 of the player's guide for Tomb Raider Chronicles on the Dreamcast. It's a walkthrough offering tips and tricks for the early levels of the game. The guide is broken down into Level 1 Streets of Rome, Level 2 Trajan's Markets, and Level 3 the Colosseum, each providing step-by-step instructions and screenshots to help players navigate these classic Tomb Raider environments with Lara Croft. There are also sections providing general gameplay advice for dealing with bats and rodents enemies, and how to execute quick jumps effectively. The guide is presented in the typical style of game tips pages from magazines of the time, offering practical advice to progress through the game's challenges. This Tomb Raider Chronicles guide section covers levels 4 to 8. Level 4, the base, tasks Lara with retrieving the Spear of Destiny from a sunken submarine, involving crane navigation, key acquisition, and avoiding a sniper. Level 5, submarine, focuses on escaping ship quarters, using the crowbar, navigating air ducts, and obtaining keys. Level 6, deep sea dive, is a brief level emphasizing the use of chaff flares to avoid enemy submarines. Level 7, sinking submarine, involves surviving a fiery corridor, electrified floors, and acquiring equipment like Uzis and nitrogen canisters. Level 8, Gallows Tree, features young Lara exploring a chasm, emphasizing platforming. General tips include searching containers for supplies, using Uzis against tougher enemies, and being aware of weak imps. This page continues the Tomb Raider Chronicles guide, now covering levels 9 and 10. Level 9, the Labyrinth, is all about navigating tricky passages, moving stones in a specific order, middle, left, right, and dodging those pesky skeletons. Apparently, there's some business with a pew and bone dust to deal with undead too. Level 10 moves on to the Old Mill, where Lara faces stone-throwing imps, a right pain by the sounds of it. This level involves using ropes, torches, crowbars, and even swimming. The objective seems to be grabbing a silver coin from a sea creature in a watermill puzzle. There are screenshots showing Lara in various locations, including a labyrinthine corridor, a mill environment, and swimming underwater, giving you a visual clue to the gameplay being described. The guide emphasizes using running jumps to evade traps and beasts, and makes sure you know to save your progress often, which is always good advice in Tomb Raider. The next page dives into Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, brilliant game that, and it's a player's guide for it. It kicks off with tips for the hangar level, detailing how to spell skate across the halfpipe, grind the rail at the start, and so on. It also covers the barrel hunt objective, telling you to smash barrels all over the place, especially in that secret room. Then it's on to collect 5 pilot wings in the hangar, and nose grind over pipe and hang time gaps. Simple enough stuff if you've played it. Flipping over to School 2, there's advice on getting the secret tape, which involves grinding a helicopter blade. Sounds about right for Tony Hawk's. Then, more level tips for points and gaps in School 2, using ramps and quarter pipes. The right side of the page is all about Choose Your Player. It runs through a load of skaters. Tony Hawk himself, Bob Burnquist, Rune Glifberg, Kareem Campbell, Bucky Lasek, Chad Musker, Andrew Reynolds, Eric Coston, Rodney Mullen, Steve Caballero, Jamie Thomas, Elissa Steamer, and Geoff Rowley. For each skater, there's a little description, and the bottom line advice on who they're good for. Tony Hawk's good for beginners, Rune Glifberg is for competitions, Rodney Mullen is a bit tricky to handle that sort of thing. Good overview for picking your skater, especially if you're new to it. This page continues the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 Player's Guide, moving on to more level-specific tips. We're looking at Marseille for spelling skate, which involves grinding rails and ramps near the statue and benches. Then there's Wall Ride 5 Bells, collect 5 hall passes, and Roll Call, which are straightforward collection and grind challenges. Kickflip TC's Roof Gap and Secret Tape offer more specific trick and exploration advice. Ollie 3 Fire Hydrants, collect 5 subway tokens, and 5050 Joey's Sculpture are all about tricking over or grinding specific level objects. grind the subway rails, and find the secret tape. Give a bit more detail on grinding techniques and tape hunting in unnamed levels. Finally, there's a quick explanation of the special meter, and a promise of continued next issue for more tips, so this is just part 1 of the guide. This page is packed with cheat codes and tips for a bunch of Dreamcast games. Right at the top, there's Jet Set Radio with unlockable character info and a player's Pots the Dog tip. Remember that one? Further down there's Silent Scope arcade mode cheats, including interrupt mode and infinite credits and time. Moving on, Ready to Rumble Boxing. Round 2 has codes for fat and skinny boxers, undead boxers, and huge gloves. Classic silly cheats for that game. Then there's Samba de Amigo, with open random mode and super hard mode. Unlock instructions using the maracas, of course. Ultimate Fighting Championship has 999 skill points in career mode, which is handy. Quake 2 iArena mentions unlocking a maze minigame by beating the game and accessing a cheats menu. Tomb Raider 4, Last Revelation and Dino Crisis are represented with loads of action replay codes for infinite ammo, health and various weapons, typical action replay stuff. Finally, Virtua Tennis has player 1 win and CPU can't score cheats. There are also secret characters and secret costumes for Ready to Rumble, unlocked by playing the game or changing the Dreamcast date to certain holidays like Halloween and Christmas for different costumes. Throughout the page, there are screenshots of Silent Scope and Ready to Rumble showing gameplay, and of course, a big advert for Action Replay CDX plugin, promoting itself as the ultimate video game enhancer for cheat codes. It really was back then. The magazine's DC Interactive Challenge invites readers to compete in various Dreamcast games. Shenmue challenges players to submit arcade high scores and forklift race fastest times. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 features a Philadelphia grind challenge. Dead or Alive 2 has time attack and survival mode contests. Sega Bass Fishing asks for photos of the biggest bass, and Ferrari 355 Challenge requires beating Daniel Moffat's Suzuka short time. Virtua Tennis challenges players in World Circuit mode, and Metropolis Street Racer focuses on kudos points. Soul Calibur features time attack and survival mode challenges. High score tables for several games are displayed, with winners receiving prizes like a Mad Catz joypad and a DC UK t-shirt. Readers enter by submitting proof of their scores by post or email. 2. This month's D-Mail section highlights reader opinions on the Dreamcast. Ickle Yoda, Mail of the Month winner, raves about his Dreamcast, praising the magazine's game recommendations. A game store employee defends staff knowledge after a previous article's criticism. Another reader had a positive experience, with a helpful sales assistant recommending the Dreamcast. Lee Piper is overwhelmed by the number of Dreamcast games, and jokingly considers a PS2. Henrik Wickstrom shares his children's Sega love, including a young Sonic fan. A reader criticizes Dreamcast ports, while the magazine acknowledges financial reasons behind them. The magazine corrects a previous statement, confirming Saturn games can be played on Dreamcast. Michael Gallagher recounts a Dreamcast-themed Christmas celebration. Rick Chan favors the Dreamcast in the console debate. The winner receives a copy of Phantasy Star Online. Screenshots from Shenmue, a racing game, and Dino Crisis are included. Dreamcast Magazine's Q&A section tackles a range of reader questions. Shenmue in Hong Kong clarifies screenshots were from a scrapped Hong Kong section. Daytona Troubles offers joystick control tips. Sega exclusive dismisses a rumor about Sega buying exclusivity for Black and White. Can you save me please? Explains F355 challenge saves. What do points make? Details Japanese game point cards. Down Under Imports advises on import game safety. Is Shenmue any good? Recommends renting the game. Why does it reboot for no reason? Addresses random reboots. I Can't Connect with Quake provides Quake 2 arena troubleshooting. Lastly, Sonic Bundle for DC discusses an exciting rumored Sonic compilation disc including Lost Classics. This page of Dreamcast Magazine is diving deep into the online side of the Dreamcast, headlined as DC Interactive Internet News. They're showing you how to get your Quake 2 iArena deathmatches going online for ultimate bragging rights amongst your mates. There's a little browser snippet talking about Saturn Legends potentially coming to Dreamcast, mentioning Knights 2. The EVM Magic section highlights a website called vmvmu.co.uk, which is all about VMU downloads, and they mention Jet Set Radio with its cool graffiti vibe. Broadband in the US is on the horizon apparently, which is exciting for faster Dreamcast online play. There's a slightly cheeky DC for men. section referencing Dreamcast and men's magazines. Then, for Phantasy Star fans, there's a Phantasy Star help at hand article guiding you through Phantasy Star Online, pointing you to sega.com/game/pso_launch.jhtml for character class info, and more for this highly anticipated online RPG. Cool Sites recommends a bunch of websites, including Dcook's own site for Dreamcast news, Vimp VMU for VMU stuff, Classic Gaming for retro Sega goodness, TV Go Home for alternative TV listings, the Orangutan Foundation for a good cause, and Scrabblers for word game fans. There are a few other sections like Babes, Humor, and Football, with website links, covering men's interests from ladies to jokes and footy news. This page is clearly pushing subscriptions for DC UK magazine at just £2 per issue, which is a cracking deal. You even get a free CD case thrown in, a handy thing back then for your games. They've got a hotline number and website for ordering, futurenet.com/promotion/PG020/77, and a mail-in form if you're old school. There's a few adverts dotted about too. GameSwapExpress.com is offering online Dreamcast game trades, and Live Digital is flogging Dreamcast accessories, proper old-school online retailers there. There's a shout-out to a shop called Computer and Games Exchange in London for buying, selling and trading consoles and games, both retro and modern stuff. There's a really dodgy-looking advert for ringtones and graphics for Nokia phones, completely random, and an advert for Cheats Unlimited boasting over 10,000 cheats and tips, listing loads of game titles really quickly like Resident Evil and Tomb Raider. Standard cheat website fare. Then there's an ad for new titles mentioning Phantasy Star Online, Daytona USA 2001, Street Fighter 2 IX, Soldier of Fortune and Half-Life, Guilty Gear X, Age of Empires, Fighting Vipers 2, Unreal Tournament. A real mixed bag of games there. Next to that, they're advertising products to run PlayStation games on your DC, which sounds a bit dodgy, but those emulator things were always around. Finally, there's a small advert suggesting that DC UK magazine is the place to advertise if you want to reach Dreamcast gamers, playing on the magazine's dedicated readership. This page is teasing what's coming up in the next issue. It's all about going up, up and away. Very catchy. Looks like Skies of Arcadia is the big hitter they're previewing, calling it a third RPG blockbuster for the Dreamcast. They are clearly hyped for that one and promising a definitive review. They've also got a stack of other reviews lined up, like Sonic Shuffle, Ducati World, Stunt GP, Soldier of Fortune, Stupid Invaders, and even Tetris. A real mixed bag of genres there. Then they're teasing exclusive new info on some of the proper heavy hitters on the Dreamcast, mentioning Sonic Adventure 2, Daytona USA 2001, Confidential Mission, Shenmue 2, and Spider-Man, so plenty to look forward to. They're clearly trying to get you to pick up issue 21, which is on sale Wednesday, March 14th. The magazine itself is the Dreamcast Magazine from DC UK, in case you missed it. There are a couple of screenshots showing Daytona USA 2001 and Sonic Adventure 2 to whet your appetite for those upcoming articles. This DC UK team diary details their activities, including Editor Lee dealing with game delays like Unreal. The team anticipates Sonic Shuffle, experiences a thunderstorm, and discusses Maximus's new appearance. They also share anecdotes about colleagues playing games and tease a major Sega/Dreamcast announcement. The team worked hard to meet deadlines while looking forward to a football-filled weekend. The page is laden with competitions. Prizes include PlayStation 2 bundles, Dreamcasts, cash, and various electronics in the Big 5-0. Other contests offer TVS, stereos, and trips. Instant win competitions give away laptops, consoles, and entertainment systems. Prizes are also available for wrestling fans. The page concludes with a red-hot cheats section advertising cheat codes and game deals, directing readers to fans.co.uk.